Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. And today I'm talking about a brand new Blu-ray release. We're going to be talking about Ti West's X from 2022. This one, of course, just came out this week as of the time of filming this. And oh my gosh, I cannot wait to talk about this movie because, well, it's insane. So this one, unfortunately, did not get a 4K release. So if you were following like the home media announcements of this, you may remember that it was announced as a 4K release and a Blu-ray release, of course. But for whatever reason, I was reading, I guess it was just an error and a 4K was not planned for this one. So that was super disappointing. So at least here in the States, as of right now, there is no 4K release planned. So this is one that I really feel like could have benefited from a 4K release. There are so many dark scenes in this that with that HDR color grading, with Dolby Vision, like those dark scenes would have popped even more than they do on this Blu-ray. But we'll talk a little bit about the AV aspects of this, and then we'll talk about special features. But first, we'll talk about the film itself. So looking forward to diving into this one, guys, because this one was insane. So yeah, let's get to it, guys. If you do have a second, though, hit that like button because that engagement really does help me out. But with that said, let's not waste any more time at all. Let's dive right in to my Blu-ray review of X. So as I mentioned, this one is written and directed by Ti West, and he is just one of my favorites in the genre. He did The House of the Devil. That was the first thing I ever saw from him. I remember really liking it. I don't remember too terribly much about it at this point, but I do remember enjoying it. Then he did You're Next, which I don't love as much as most people do, but there's that one as well. And then The Sacrament, another great one based on like the Jonestown mass suicide. And then there was The Innkeepers, which I saw just a couple of years ago, and that one was excellent. I thought that was just such an effective, scary horror film. It was just done so well about a haunted hotel. That one was great. He's done many others, but those are the ones that I've seen from him that I really enjoyed. And so this one, the latest here, X, does it live up to what I know of Ti West? So let's talk about the synopsis of this one real quick. So in X, we are following a group of actors. They are adult film actors. They are heading to rural Texas to this farmhouse in order to film a new adult film. And it takes place in 1979. So this was like right before the home video era started kicking off. And so this was a time where the adult film industry could genuinely get you into Hollywood and get you a star, or, you know, get you into places to become a star. And so that's what they're trying to basically do with this. You know, Debbie Does Dallas was a huge success. They even mentioned that in this film. And so that's what they're trying to capitalize, is the success of that and this home media market, which they're anticipating for it to kick off. And so we are following them as they head to this rural Texas farmhouse. They don't tell these elderly the elderly couple that owns the farmhouse, what they're doing, but they're staying in their, like, the house is separate from them. I don't even know what you would call it, I guess. The farmhouse, I guess it would be accurate, as opposed to the main house. But they are filming it kind of in secret. And as soon as they get there, things get super weird. The homeowner like pulls a gun on our main character, played by Martin Henderson. He's excellent in this. He's from The Ring, is where I know him best. He's also in The Strangers Pray at Night. He's fantastic in here. But he's kind of like the head of this whole thing. And so he's the one who's booked this lodging. Well, he pulls up and knocks on the door, and the old man, the homeowner, comes out with a gun because he thinks he's from the county and he doesn't want any trespassers. So it starts off super weird. You can tell there are just weird vibes when they get there. And then they start filming when they think they're alone. And there is the wife to the man that owns the house. And there's something going weird with her. So as the day progresses into night, really weird things start happening, and I guess I'll leave the synopsis there because I really don't want to spoil anything at all. It's just, you need to check it out from there. If that at all sounds interesting, then it might be something you want to check out. So with that horribly vague synopsis out of the way, basically what you're getting here is tons of sex and violence. And if you enjoy those things, this just cranks up the volume to 11. It is awesome in that regard. So first, we'll touch on the acting. This was excellently acted across the board. So our main actors are all listed right on the cover here, so I'll just refer to this. But Maya Goth, our main actress, she was excellent. She's actually playing a dual role. She's playing one of our actresses voices in the adult film they're doing, and then she's also playing the old woman in this, and that was just fantastic to see her do both of those. Then you have Jenna Ortega from the latest Scream movie, is where I know her from. I thought she was great in that. She does an awesome job in this as kind of like, they call her Church Mouse. She's kind of the naive one in this whole thing. She's just being dragged along for the ride by her boyfriend, who is RJ in the film. He is kind of the director, the cinematographer, and RJ has these big plans to make this very French New Wave style because it hides the low budget, he says, and which is so accurate to like real life, and I just thought that was awesome. This is very much so a love letter to film, specifically to horror films. You know, this one was kind of sold to me, I guess, is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets this like crazy story, and it really felt like that. I know a lot of people said that it wasn't that at all when they watched it, but I disagree. Like, to me, the vibes here were very TCM, which is just one of the greatest horror films out there, right? So I loved that aspect of it. Some of the shots in this were like straight from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and so I loved seeing those homages, and not just TCM. So many different horror films were homaged in this, which was just so much fun to watch as a lover of the genre. And then you have Brittany Snow playing the other actress. The Farmer's Daughter is the name of the adult film they're playing, and both Mia Goth and Brittany Snow are playing the titular farmer's daughters, and so she's wonderful in this. Brittany Snow is not the first person I would think of to play a like porn actress in this movie, but she's fantastic. She's almost playing like a Marilyn Monroe lookalike, and she does it so well. She looks awesome and just embodies this so well. And then you have Scott Mescudi, who is playing the male actor in the adult film, and he is awesome. He is like an ex-Marine, and he's just a like big, powerful character. I thought he had a great screen presence. So having this small troupe of actors, really only 7 characters, I think is a benefit for this film, because you get to know these characters a little bit more than you might in a typical horror film. And I really loved that aspect of it, because once the weirdness starts picking up in the second half of the film, like, I cared about their survival. I wanted them to make it, and just seeing how things were going to happen, I thought was so much fun because of the fact that I liked these characters and wanted them to survive. So just a really great nod to the acting across the board here. I thought it was just really well done. The other aspect of this film that I thought was just excellent was the cinematography. So you have not only RJ doing some cinematography with his camera in this adult film we're making within our film, which I thought was just really fun, really cool, very French New Wave style, you know, that handheld style. I loved that. But on top of that, you just have some amazing shots from Ty West and his cinematographer. The composition in some of these shots are just like, there's scenes, there's pictures in this film that will stick with me for quite some time. The use of shadow, the use of color, like, it's just expertly done. And it all folds in together with this just disgustingly brutal horror film filled with tons of gore to like juxtapose against the beauty of the cinematography with the disgusting beauty of the special effects. I thought was so cool. And so those blended together just make this feel like a throwback to that 70s style of horror where it was meaner. It was like, it didn't have good intentions, and this movie doesn't. And I love that about it. It feels dirty and gritty, and like I said, a throwback to that 70s horror that I, of course, absolutely love. I just loved the way that Ty West built this script. So it starts off, you know, relatively normal, but then things quickly start getting uncomfortable, and then they start getting a little strange, and then, you know, a moment happens around the halfway point where it just takes it to the next level, and things are, you know, much beyond weird, beyond strange, and it's just so crazy. And that's when all this crazy gore effects kick in, and you get a lot of brutality and violence kind of out of nowhere, which I've talked about before. I absolutely love that. There's a moment toward the end of the film, which of course I'm not going to spoil, but it was just like a punch to the gut. I absolutely was floored when it happened. My jaw was on the floor. Like, it was so cool. And so I loved that. So I think the way the script is built, the way Ty West put this film together is just like, it is so Ty West because it feels expertly done. It reminds me of James Wan. I think James Wan is one of the maestros of the horror genre in terms of like recent horror films. Well, relatively recent now, within like the past 10, 15 years. And Ty West is right up there with James Wan for me. Like, I think they both just have such a natural gift for this genre that it's just so much fun to watch their films because of it. Not to sound like a broken record, but X is truly old school horror done for the modern audience. This does not pull any punches at all. It is mean, it is dirty, and it's disgusting. It is uncomfortable to sit through at various points, not only for the violence, but just for some of the sexuality in it as well. It's just a little bit uncomfortable to sit through, and that was awesome. So this was one where I honestly didn't know if it was going to live up to my expectations or not, because if you watch the trailer for this, like, all I expected was a lot of sex and a lot of violence. Well, fortunately, X lived up to that times 10. Like, it goes so far with both aspects of it and just combines them to make this really old school feeling horror film, which I love. I love that style. It is just so crazy and brutal, and it's just fun to watch. So if that's the type of horror film you enjoy, then X might be for you. Outside of the TNA at the beginning and then the brutality at the end is just how beautifully shot this film is. And so it's not just a shallow, nudity-filled, gore-filled horror film. There's much more to it. And not only in the cinematography, but the message here, there's definitely some conversation to be had about like ageism, I guess, and what it means to get old, the youth in the film versus the elderly in this film and what that means. And, I don't want to get into all that right now because that would take this review another, 20 minutes, and I think I've rambled enough. But yeah, if you're looking for something that has a lot of violence and a lot of sex, plus some beautiful cinematography and something deeper there, some more meaning behind it, then this is just, I can't recommend this one enough. I was honestly my expectations were high and it still surpassed them. So I am going to give X from 2022 4.5 out of 5 stars. So let's touch on the AV aspects of this Blu-ray release, and starting with the audio, this one is presented in a 5.1 DTS HD master audio track, and that's a little bit unfortunate because at the end of the credits, I did see a Dolby Atmos logo, and it is listed on IMDb that this was filmed with Dolby Atmos. So if we had the 4K release that I really wish we did, we probably would have gotten that track. But as it stands, I think the 5.1 DTS HD track is totally fine. I didn't have any problems hearing the characters at all. The dialogue was never lost. The rear speakers didn't play a huge role in this film. I do remember one specific scene where a person was calling from behind where I was sitting because they were, in the house and the person was at the front door. So I remember that aspect of it. But other than that, the surrounds didn't play a huge part in this. And so I thought it was totally acceptable. I was able to hear the audio and the special effects and the music, which there is a ton of licensed music in this, which I just always am a sucker for. So I loved that. But I thought the, audio presentation was totally fine. And then on the video side, again, this is one that really could have benefited from that HDR color grading because it was so dark in some scenes. And frankly, I was watching it on my bigger screen TV, which is my lower quality screen TV. And so it could have just been the TV I was watching it on versus, watching it on a higher quality TV. But still, I did have some scenes where I was like, man, this is super dark. And so I wanted to turn up the brightness just a little bit. And I feel like that could have been taken care of with a 4K treatment on this, with that color grading. So that part was a little disappointing, but I do think the rest of the film I thought looked really good. It's mostly done at night, and those for the most part look great. There was just some interior shots that I noticed that were darker than I would have expected, I guess. But the daytime shots I thought looked fantastic. Again, some of those shots where has the moving camera that was very reminiscent of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, those looked excellent. So in terms of the audio and the visuals here, nothing really to complain about. I would have loved a 4K presentation though, so I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5 stars. The special features on this release, you can see there's only 3 listed on the back here. And let me start by saying that if you are a commentary fan, unfortunately, there is none on this release, which is a little bit disappointing, even though I am not personally a commentary guy. I don't really listen to them. But what you do have here is the X Factor featurette, which is like a 12-minute or so just behind the scenes making of exactly what you would expect. Not super revealing, but I did find out that Mia Goth, however you say her name, she's actually British, which blew my mind because she does a southern accent just excellently. Like, it was crazy to me. I had no idea. So that was like the big revelation for me in that, which is so stupid. Everybody probably already knows that. But yeah, so that was it was fine. You know, you get to see more from Ty West about what his thoughts were behind making this film and things like that, but nothing to write home about. And then The Farmer's Daughter is on here, which is actually the adult film that they're making within this movie.
Sure is hot out there. You must be awful thirsty.
Yes, ma'am. It's got a good taste.
You're not getting any of the sex scenes that you do get in the regular film. It's just kind of like the fun vignettes that are leading up to the sex scenes. So I thought that was a kind of cool feature to have in there. And you get a really good look at RJ's cinematography, his French New Wave influenced cinematography. So I thought that was a lot of fun. And then on the back here, as you can see, it lists extended scene. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea what it's talking about with extended scene. There may have been an extended scene like within the film that I didn't realize was extended because I didn't see the theatrical release of this, but I have no idea because there was no special feature listed that said extended scene on it. There was another special feature that was a makeup time lapse, and so you get to see Mia Goth putting on the old woman makeup, and it's like 1.5 minutes long. It's super short, but you know, it's really cool to see her transform from this young woman to this old lady with all this makeup. So that was kind of interesting, but again, very short. So the special features on this, honestly, they're fun, they're fine, but they are severely lacking. I would have loved to see a little bit more depth here on this. And again, even though I'm not a commentary guy, I know a lot of people are, there really should have been a Ty West commentary on this. So unfortunately for this A24 release, for the special features, I don't normally give it a rating, but because I did watch all of them this time because there was no commentary, I am going to rate it. I'm going to give this one 2.5 out of 5 stars. So at the end of the day, the big question is, am I happy I purchased this? And I think you can guess by now, the answer is a resounding yes. This may only have mediocre special features, admittedly, and the AV quality is fine. It's nothing to write home about, but I don't care because the movie itself is one that I will watch over and over again. I loved it. Honestly, I think this is a movie that in 20 years is going to have a cult following behind it because it feels already like it's underappreciated. I have seen so many divisive reviews or mixed reviews on this, and I don't know, this movie is made for me. I love this, everything about this film. So, even though I think the Blu-ray release definitely could have done a better job, I'm still very happy I bought this one. So overall, I am going to give this Blu-ray release from A24 3.5 out of 5 stars, simply because the movie itself makes up for any of the downfalls of the rest of the disc. All right, so those were my thoughts on X, and clearly I had a great time with it, but I want to hear from you guys because even when I mentioned this in my top 5 May media releases I needed to own video, the comments were even divisive there. People saying that it was mediocre, that they didn't like it, whatever the case is, but fortunately I was on the side that absolutely loved it. So I want to hear what your thoughts were if you've seen this one, and if you haven't seen it, is it something you might want to check out now because of my review, or maybe you're skipping it because of me? Let me know down in the comments below. Before I do sign off here though, this one did come with a digital copy, not only the Blu-ray, but the DVD as well, along with that digital copy. So we will go ahead and give away the digital copy for X. So if you are interested, which again, no better way to see the movie than free, right? But if you're interested, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, you hit that like button, and then leave a comment below telling me what is your favorite throwback horror film. That is super vague, and it can mean whatever you want it to be. That's totally fine. I just literally made it up as I'm sitting here. So what's your favorite throwback horror film? Let me know down in the comments below. Be subscribed to the channel and hit that like button, and you will be entered in to win my digital copy of X. And so if you're interested in seeing this one for free, definitely do that. Take advantage of it, guys. Not a ton of people enter, so you have a pretty good chance of winning, which is always a positive. But that is going to do it for today, guys. So if you did enjoy this one, please hit that like button down below. That engagement really does help me out. And like I always say, I don't just talk movies, I talk all things media, be it books, movies, video games, graphic novels, manga. If it's media related, I'm interested in it. And if you are too, you might consider subscribing. All right, guys. So that is going to do it for today. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. And I want to encourage you to consume some media today. I'll catch you next time.